just want to hop in here at the beginning and let folks know that I completely dropped the fucking ball on this one. And forgot to mention that our new theme song is written, composed, and performed by Vitizen. You can find him on Twitter at _Vitizen_. Enjoy the rest of this perfect episode. Internet's #1 podcast about Star Trek or Star Trek related media, hosted by me, Jeff.
And this guy, me, Josh.
With all of those specific factors, we are #1 and no one can say different.
Yeah, no one else has a Star Trek podcast, I don't think, with us on it. So there you go. #1 this podcast with us on it.
Every 2 weeks. We sit down with a piece of Star Trek media. And by the way, we should do a book at some point, I think. We should pick a Star Trek book and do it.
Fuck, that'd be great.
I've got a few that I
real good ones.
I haven't read any of them, so
please do not pick one by Will Wheaton. I know he's done a few.
No,
right?
Fuck that. I've got one by Shatner.
Oh man, that's probably real good.
It's not really by Shatner, but you know he was like, make my dick bigger.
Talk about elephants.
Can you talk about how elephants vibrate? This specific episode, we're going to be talking about Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 2, Episode 14, called The Icarus Factor.
Don't ask us why it's called that. We've talked about it, and there's probably people like, it's because Icarus flew to the sun, he flew too high, and his dad.
That's a shitty metaphor. The thing is. The whole myth of Icarus, his father created the wax wings, and then he flew too close to the sun. Yeah. Riker's dad didn't do shit for him, abandoned him, and then Riker flew too close to the sun and succeeded. He succeeded.
Yeah.
Which makes it the opposite of Icarus.
He became like a living god.
For 5 minutes once, he did.
Have you seen his beard? It's incredible in this one.
Yeah, his dad has no facial hair, which lets you know right out the gate this dude fucking sucks, right?
Yeah, he's like the 24th century version of a boomer.
He really is.
He's like a boomer, man.
I want to, straight out the gate, let everyone know this episode makes me very angry. And,
probably
it's not
for the same reason
episode.
It makes me angry.
It's not like a terrible episode. But it's very much a television relationship strain between father and son. It's not a real one.
Right.
Because it gets solved in an hour.
It gets solved in 5 seconds.
Yeah,
it gets solved immediately.
I'd completely forgotten how fast the fucking switchover from them hating each other to being friends happens at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
But it's literally 5 seconds.
It's ludicrous. It's insane. It's not real.
Let's get some shopkeeping out of the way first.
Okay.
This episode was written by David Aseel, who wrote this episode and literally nothing else ever for Star Trek.
All right.
However, he did write episodes for Homefront, Picket Fences, Northern Exposure.
Oh, that one.
Della Venture, Call of the Wild, and most importantly, Baywatch Nights.
Oh, and he did Miami Vice, too.
Yeah, he wrote a lot of the worst episodes of television for a lot of good shows.
The episode he wrote for Baywatch Nights was called Just a Gigolo. Clever.
This episode was directed by Robert Iskov, who also only directed this episode and never anything else for Star Trek. However, before writing this episode of Star Trek, his most impressive credit as a director was Jesus Christ Superstar.
From the 70s?
Actually, no. His most widely known and impressive directing job was directing 1983's Romeo and Juliet on Ice.
Oh, he also directed From Justin to Kelly, the movie about Justin Guarini and Kelly. I was
leading up to that.
He directed She's All That? That movie rules!
She's All That is the only thing... Here's his fucking career trajectory, right? He does Romeo and Juliet on Ice. He does 900 shitty TV movies, such as Janek, The Silent Betrayal.
Nice.
And Without Consent, which is terrifying.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And then fucking The Clouds Part in 1998 for Mr. Robert Iskov.
It all changes.
And he directs She's All That, starring Gabrielle Union. And
no, she's not in that, is she?
She is in that. It's not starring her, but she was in something Star Trek related, so of course she shows up on this wiki.
Gabrielle Union is she the friend in the school?
I don't remember She's All That at all, man.
Anna Paquin is the sister to Freddie Prinze Jr. I remember that. I love Anna Paquin.
She's great.
Lil' Kim is in it. I'm not seeing Gabrielle Union.
He does She's All That, and everything is fucking coming up Millhouse for Robert Iskov. The next couple years he directs Boys and Girls. That doesn't do so good.
Yeah.
In fact, it does bad enough that his next movie is the Sci-Fi Channel original movie Firestarter 2 Rekindled.
Shit. Oh, what? You know, they made that just so they could use Rekindled. It's too cool not to use. Let's make a movie around it.
And apparently Malcolm McDowell is in that movie.
Oh, God. He'll do anything. There was a point when Malcolm McDowell was like, I'll do that.
You got a sandwich?
You got a crafty? I'm showing up.
Yeah, and his career was finally coming back around. He was going to get to do an actual movie again. Mm-hmm. And it was 2003's From Justin to Kelly, starring Kelly Clarkson and Justin Guarini.
Man, I think I've seen that, but I'm pretty sure I deleted it from my memory banks.
Most recently, he directed Val Kilmer in The Ten Commandments the Musical.
Wow.
In 2006.
Oh my God.
Is that still considered recently?
He directed something called Surprised by Love in 2015. He might be dead. He's not.
He directed Without Consent and then Surprised by Love. I'm not liking this career.
He's got a theme going, man. You gotta go do another type of movie. I bet this one's good. Whiskey Business. I bet it's about a bartender. Let's see.
Let's find out together, everybody.
After Nicky, the son of New Jersey mob boss, is framed for a murder he didn't commit, he goes on the run and ends up in a small town in Tennessee where he's taken in by Trina. Okay.
The rapper?
I'll watch the shit out of that. Fucking Trina. 5-star bitch.
The baddest bitch.
At first, Nicky is as suspicious of their moonshine as they are of his fake tan, but he soon bonds with the residents to take down Gilly, the town's corrupt sheriff. Jesus Holy fuck, we need to watch this.
This is like a whole thing. Somebody posted this thing on like a Facebook group for people in Pittsburgh that like we joined when we got here.
The Yinzer Club?
God no. It's like Pittsburgh. It just shows anything that's happening in Pittsburgh, like events and everything, so you know ahead of time.
Are you sure it's not just like crickets chirping?
Nah. I lived in West Virginia before, bro.
That's true. I can't really make fun of Pittsburgh.
Everything's an upgrade here.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's like New York fucking city.
Regardless of how fucking low it is on the totem pole, it's an upgrade for me. But there was a movie that came out that was supposed to be called Three Rivers, because Pittsburgh has three rivers.
Yeah, Three Rivers.
About like a disgraced police officer played by Bruce Willis. Okay. Who has to prove his innocence when a string of murders happens.
Right.
The craziest thing about it is that it was awful, but it is actually filmed in Pittsburgh. Like, I recognize everything that happens in it.
Oh, you should watch Jack Reacher. It's actually a good movie, and it's all Pittsburgh. It's all of it's Pittsburgh, dude.
There's this extended car chase sequence that one fucking slaps. It's so good.
Yeah. Dude, you gotta watch Jack Reacher. Just watch that. It's amazing.
But two, like, it's on the commute we took to get to the fucking park.
Oh, man. That's awesome. When did they make this? Cool.
It's in the 80s. It's like he had just done the movie fucking Nick loves, the musical
Die Hard?
No.
Oh, Buckaroo no, fuck. No.
Buckaroo Banzai's a good movie.
Yeah, fuck. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my god. We played the game of it. Fuck
you did. I don't remember the fucking thing.
We're like morons today.
Bruce Willis musical movie. It's called Red. No,
That's Red.
I literally can't believe this isn't coming up when I fucking put it in this way.
I'm looking. Oh my god, go back farther. He's done so much shit. Holy fuck, this dude.
He'll do anything. Fucking Hudson Hawk.
Yeah. He's been on HBO like every day.
He had literally just done Hudson Hawk before he did this movie, so it was not a good batting average year for Mr. Willis.
Yeah, he did like a bunch of shit, right? Like he was in Die Hard, and like then he did Hudson Hawk, and it was stupid. Look Who's Talking, he was in, and then he did The Last Boy Scout, which I remember was
the
like,
dog,
fucking
right.
He was the baby.
Look Who's Talking. Oh, he was the baby. The one with the dog's better.
Is that 3?
I think it's 2.
2 is the one with Roseanne as the sister. Remember Roseanne when she was a marketable commodity?
I can't believe there was a time, honestly. I can't fucking believe there was a time.
It's called the early 90s. I think about the early 90s and how shitty they were. Like, I remember sitting at home, like, on a Sunday night, getting ready to go to school the next day, and just thinking about how shitty everything was. Like, I knew then. I was like, this is shitty. I was like, this is horrible.
The name of this movie is the Pittsburgh movie with Bruce Willis, and it is Striking Distance.
Striking Distance. Oh, that's a like really famous one.
And it takes place in Pittsburgh, and he plays a homicide detective named Tom Hardy. I shit you not.
Like the guy, like the actor.
He created him when he made that movie. Anyway.
Do you think he was named after this movie? I do.
Probably.
I think chances are good that that's what he's named after.
So, written by David Aseel, directed by Robert Iskov. It's all-star pedigree for the Icarus Factor from TNG.
Mm-hmm.
Robert McCullough had something to do with the teleplay, but I don't really give a fuck. Really, this episode could have been called Daddy Issues.
Yeah, I hate my dad.
And if you're like me and like Josh, you didn't have the best relationship with your father.
Yeah, I don't really like need to watch like a dad issue show. I kind of like lived a whole life of that.
Sure. So like if you didn't have a very good relationship with your father, you've probably noticed that television does not care for that. It doesn't like that you don't like your dad, and it wants to make sure that you do.
You're supposed to like your dad. Well, that's like real life, too. People are always like, did you call your dad? I'm always like, did you fucking call my dad? Like, am I, 5? I'm 5 years old. Did you call my dad?
No, I didn't call my dad. He's dead. I can't call across fucking time and space.
Well, my dad lives in Florida, so he might as well be dead, honestly.
Well,
there's no coming back.
My relationship with my father, not great. Television characters who have a not great relationship with their father, everyone around them, when it's absolutely none of their business,
gets involved.
Forces them as hard as they can towards reconciliation.
That's just like real life. That's exactly like real life, though.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
The same fucking shit that people do to me. Like, still.
And it's like, the thing about this episode is usually it's like, I don't like my dad because we just don't get along. We don't see eye to eye. He wants me to join the family company. I don't want to. But this takes it to like a comedic level where it's like my father abandoned me in Alaska when I was 13 and I raised myself.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, well, he's your dad.
Right.
Is he, motherfucker?
This dude does some, like, irredeemable fucking shit, right? Like shit that would wreck your life.
Like he leaves a child unattended to take care of himself for the rest of his life from the age 13 on.
Yeah, man. That'll fuck you up. Trust me. I know.
And you know what he says? He says, spare me your sob story about your childhood. And we as an audience are supposed to be like, yeah, Will, you pussy bitch.
Yeah.
You're a man now.
There's, like, some legit, like, I would never talk to this guy ever. Like,
no.
He's, like, Riker, like, Will is, like, 100% right. Like, he needs to get away from this.
Yeah.
He's a toxic human being.
Exactly. He's toxic as fuck.
Yeah, he's a bad person to be. Like, you cannot be around this person. Like,
and here's the thing, like, Will is 100%, like 1,000,000% understanding towards Pulaski and her situation.
Right.
And Pulaski decides that it is her job to run Will's life for him.
Yeah, be his mom.
Force him back towards his father. You just got his dick a couple times, lady. You're not involved.
Yeah, you just, like, fucked the guy or whatever, like weird, like, space old people fucking.
Whenever anybody is like, oh, I like Pulaski a lot, like, I think back to this episode.
I think of that too, because, like...
And I hate Pulaski in this episode.
It's like, on one hand, like, she's real honest, and it's like, they kind of get into, like, Will, like, loves honesty the most, which, like, you see why later. And she's real honest about it, and she's just like, yeah, like, I really loved him, and, like, I didn't care. You know what I mean? But, like...
Yeah.
But, like, also, like, yeah, you don't really, like, get to tell me, like...
You're not involved in this situation. Yeah. This has nothing to do with you.
Yeah. Also, how fucking coincidental is that?
Yeah.
How big is the universe?
Well, when
like,
you're a Riker, right, you're bound to run into somebody you laid the pipe to, right?
That's true. You just pipe laying all throughout the goddamn galaxy, dude.
Riker Sr. is a scumbag. Like, what did he do after he left his son, age 13, to fend for himself?
He went and, like, did, like, jobs, right? Like, I kind of get, like... Now, this is where it gets, like, really, like, Freudian for me. He's kind of like a truck driver. Like, my dad was like a truck driver, and I kind of, like, put that on him in the show. I'm like, he just went and he, like, did shit for Starfleet. Like, he was just like, I'm going to go out.
All he cared about was his career, right?
Yeah.
That's very much my dad as well. But he wasn't... We're going to get into Freudian shit.
But, like, he wasn't in Starfleet, though, right? He was just sort of like a mercenary or some shit?
He's like a...
Like a consultant or something?
He's a consultant to Starfleet. He's done a shit ton of work with Starfleet, but he's, like... With like a surveying company.
Oh, is that why they live in Alaska? Because it's like shitty.
Well, he didn't live in Alaska past 13.
I'm out. Have fun fighting the bears.
Like, he's a scumbag. Like, there's no way around it. Like, and everybody on this show, like, they have to be written out of character in order to like make any sense for the way they're acting about this. Like, Picard isn't involved for the most part, thankfully. Because if he was involved, that would have been heinous. Like, you need to reconcile with your father, number one.
Yeah,
he abandoned me when I was 13.
Never mind.
Quit being a bitch. You know?
I need to go. Forget I said anything.
There's a B plot with Worf, I guess.
Yeah, this one's okay. Like, I always forget about the B plot with Worf.
It's fun.
It's cool that we get, like, a Riker Worf episode, which is, like, I think this is, like, the only one, pretty much. All right, where it's, like,
maybe
an A-plot,
one
B-plot.
where Worf wants to die. Well, that's just an A-plot. I think this is the only, like, A-plot, B-plot that focuses on one of them as each. Yeah.
This show does a really good job of, we always talk about, like, mixing and matching people's stories, right? Like, you're like, a Data Crusher episode? Like, what? You know? Like, there's, like, weird shit. It's
always really good to have characters that are involved with one another, but then characters that don't have to be.
Right. It's easy to be like old Star Trek and just have the three main things, right? Like,
yeah.
But this show is, like, very much all of a character study in all of them.
I'm definitely glad they went away from that with this. Like I love TOS and what it does and everything, but it really leaves a bunch of underdeveloped characters.
Yeah, they're not the same characters either. You know, like it works for those 3 cowboys because they're cowboys, right? Like Spock and Kirk and Bones are like the guys, but that's not how it is anymore.
The Boys Club.
The boys. We them boys. Remember that song from like
no
2016?
Yes, actually. So like Worf wants to get poked with red hot pokers real bad, but he can't tell anybody.
We don't know that yet.
he gets off on it real hard, but he can't tell people that.
His Klingon modesty is getting in the way.
His Klingon blood demands red hot pokers on his nipples.
Pretty close to it. I don't know. Maybe there was a weird Klingon nipple. Maybe Klingons have 57 nipples. Who fucking knows?
Klingons have a ring of nipples that go all the way around their chest.
Klingons
like
have
how they measure you for a suit. There's nipples all the way around.
Klingons have like dinner plate sized nipples, and then around that is like a Saturn ring of other nipples, like around the big nipple.
And they all lactate.
Wow. Wow.
You know what? On that note, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back. Hop into the episode and discuss the Icarus Factor after these messages.
After these messages, we'll be right back. Feel the magic, hear the roar. The Thundercats are here. Thundercats! Ho! A team of brave and bold superheroes. Meet Chitara the Quick, as clever as she is athletic. Chitara is unafraid of a challenge.
Maybe that'll teach you to monkey with the Thundercats.
Chitara the Quick, one of the mighty Thundercats. Don't miss the action. Ho! Thundercats.
Weekdays at 5 on WRLH TV 35.
Back to the show.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed those messages.
I did. I don't know what I put in there, but sure.
Future Josh better not fucking drop the ball on this one.
Oh, God. I've been doing that a lot lately.
You've never dropped the ball, Josh.
That's happened. One time I forgot to show up.
Well, yeah, I guess that counts.
I was like asleep or something. I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I do remember texting you and be like, Josh, where are you?
And I was like, oh no, I forgot. Because it was one of those weeks that we did it like on a Monday and then we had to do like another one.
Yeah.
And I kind of forgot that I get fucked up.
Got some breaking news from the news desk today, folks.
Oh shit. Just put in some news clipping sounds.
Looking over the emails for M-Class Email this week, we received an email from tpublic.com that says CBS itself is reviewing our Go Climb a Rock t-shirt to see if they want to make it officially licensed merchandise.
We're going to have officially licensed Star Trek merchandise.
And it's literally a white t-shirt with completely incorrectly offset text that says Go Climb a Rock.
It's amazing if true. If we get it, it'll be the greatest thing we've ever done.
M-Class Podcast has become officially licensed by CBS if this goes through. They don't know that, of course, but we do.
We'll have officially licensed Star Trek merchandise. It's awesome.
The thing that continually pops into my head that we discussed before this, since I got this email literally 5 minutes before we started recording tonight.
Yeah.
Why that one? Why ours?
I don't know.
There's so many other Go Climb a Rock shirts out there.
Maybe ours is the most simple. A lot of them that I've seen have like weird shit on it. Like the one that I saw had like the Delta on the sleeve, and I was like, that's kind of dumb.
Well,
like, that's lame.
Like I was telling Josh earlier, our Go Climb a Rock t-shirt, I meticulously made to look just as shitty as Kirk's Go Climb a Rock shirt from Star Trek 5. Yeah. The text is plain sans serif italic text with a period at the end, because there is a period on
There is a period,
and it is tilted incorrectly on the shirt, like his.
Like they made it like with like those like Michael's craft store layer like things you can make like iron-ons or some shit.
So
right?
maybe they chose it because it is the most screen accurate Go Climb a Rock shirt on the internet. But
that's probably what it is.
Look out for that, folks. There is a chance that we may have CBS officially licensed Star Trek merchandise available soon.
Have to get one.
So get excited about that.
Woo!
Back to the Icarus Factor for now, though.
Yeah. Back to hating our dads.
Fuck you, Dad.
Fucking, I know you listen. He doesn't.
Our real father is Captain Picard, of course, and we're both his sons.
Yes. We're his good sons.
We're half brothers.
Hopefully we don't die in a fire.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happens to all Picards who aren't captains.
No. Fire can't get you in space. There's no air. What's antimatter? Is that fire? Would antimatter and matter mix? Does that make fire? Or like
it makes burn.
Does it go like beyond fire?
It makes
like
super
crazy.
fire.
Cool.
Is that canon to the M-Class universe that we're Picard's shitty sons?
No. we couldn't live up to that.
It'd be so great if we were Picard's sons that he didn't know existed, and also we don't know that he's our
We
father.
don't know. Maybe we're like rejected clones, like
we're Shinzon 2 and
like
3.
Shinzon. Yeah. We're just like the Danny DeVito version of Shinzon.
That would explain a lot about us.
Yeah.
So the Enterprise D is headed towards Starbase called Starbase Montgomery. And
probably named after Montgomery. What's his name?
Montgomery Burns?
Montgomery C. Burns, yeah. From The Simpsons. Montgomery Scott.
Yeah. It's probably named after Scotty.
I think I always felt it was a reference to that.
Great.
Maybe not.
I like that if it's true.
Or maybe Montgomery the general from World War II.
That's more like it. We're like American shit. We name all of our ships after American shit.
He was British, so it's British shit.
Oh, then probably not.
He was a prick, but all generals are kind of pricks.
Yeah. The only good general is the one that's on your side when you tell yourself that he's good.
Yeah. Like Patton.
Yeah, Patton was great.
Yeah, that guy wasn't mean.
They have, they're having, like, anomalies in the readouts all over the ship. Like, just little shit that doesn't seem to make sense, but doesn't cause them, like, catastrophic failure.
Yeah, this is, like, a weird, like, thing. This is, like, an everyday, like, here's some weird stuff.
Yeah, like,
right?
your computer's, like, fucking up. Like, you try to open a program with your computer, and it seems to open, but then it's not open, so you have to do it one more time to make it work. That type of shit.
Fuck that. Fuck that.
And Data's just like, well, they're super, like, not important, so we can just, like, rewrite the code to, you know, fix it. We'll just, like...
Data could do it probably in, like, a minute, right?
Yeah. And Picard's like, no, we need to have the people at Starbase Montgomery, like, give it a complete once-over. We need to figure out what's wrong with the system from the ground up.
Yeah. Let's make them do it. It's basically his, like... He's like, fuck it, just like them do it.
Geordi lies straight to the audience and the captain and says that his ego is not hurt by them doing this, but we learn different very soon.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, he's like,
remember.
He's all like butthurt about it in a couple scenes later.
What a liar. What a fucking liar.
Apparently they're headed to Starbase Montgomery anyway, and Riker's like, oh, well, that's not like where we were headed before.
Right. He's like, why are we going there? And Picard's like, we're picking up a VIP man.
Yeah, he says that there are some personnel changes coming up. And Riker says, oh, are they joining us or are they disembarking?
Disembarking.
And Picard, like, changes the subject real quick.
He's like, number one, could you meet me in the observation lounge? And at this point, I'd be like, oh my god, what is happening now?
Oh god, I'm getting fired.
This whole fucking...
They're gonna send me to Satellite M. Oh no.
Yeah. Oh god, with those two idiots.
Dude. Do you remember when I was in charge of Deep Space Nine and blew it up? That's canon. That's M-Class canon.
Yeah, I remember that. It's a good thing that they've figured out how to fix it.
They sent me in to replace Redacted, because that's a spoiler.
Be a patron to find out what Redacted is.
Or watch Deep Space Nine all the way to the end to figure out what Redacted is.
That one's easier.
No, become a patron. Give us your money.
Yeah, give us money.
Wesley fucking Crusher's in this episode. He calls Picard and says that they're in hailing range of Starbase Montgomery.
Captain, we're in hailing range. That's how I hear it.
That's what he sounds like.
He just whines for 5 seconds and then it cuts off. And everyone's like, oh my god.
This is like you need to make this. You need to edit some episodes to have edit that shit on it.
And just do like a voiceover. Yeah, I could do that.
Riker meets Picard in the observation lounge, and Picard has a little trip down memory lane about he congratulates Riker for doing the fucking docking maneuver he forces him to do and encounter at Farpoint.
Yeah, he just flies the ship into the ship. Like, everybody should be able to do that, right? Like, I think I could do that.
You could,
right,
Josh?
Nah, man. It's just whatever. It's how hard is it?
The ship usually does it for him, so he's like, "Oh, you can do it too. Cool."
Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty straightforward.
He says it was difficult. I'm with Josh.
Why?
I don't really know what's difficult about it.
Why would it be difficult? Why would it? I mean, it's not like the ship's spinning and like out of control or anything. That would be difficult.
Well, he tells the commanding officer of the Ares is retiring.
Yeah, the captain. He's like, I'm done being in charge of the Ares.
Because the Ares sucks a dick.
I wonder what kind of ship the Ares is. I bet you that it isn't uncanon, but there is one.
But they've chosen Riker to be his successor. He's going to be the captain of the Ares. He just has to accept his new position. Eagle-eyed Star Trek viewers may note that this happens 37 more times throughout the rest of TNG.
Yeah, this is
piece of shit.
Yeah, we're back here doing this again. The Ares is a Renaissance class. It's little. It's like a little Enterprise D. It's like little.
It's like a baby Enterprise D.
It's kind of cool. It's real small though.
There's no image of it on.
I see a Elcar's readout of it.
What the hell?
They don't make this. Is just all.
What the hell? Anyway, so Picard sort of just assumes that Riker's going to take the position.
Yeah, everyone's sort of. Is this the first time that this is coming up?
This is the first time this happens.
All right. So they don't know about him yet. They're not.
Picard always seems to think he's going to take the position.
Eventually, he's just like, I know you're going to think about this.
He's like, just take it. Get off my ship.
Get off my bridge.
But the idea is that they're going into a completely uncharted sector that has unconfirmed information about warp-capable species there.
Yeah, so they're gonna do first contact shit. That would be fucking cool as shit.
Hell yeah! And they chose Riker because of his ability as a diplomat, not his war power.
Sure, why? I guess why not? He's good at everything.
Riker's the best at everything, including having facial hair.
Including being mean to his dad, which I respect.
Yeah, well, his dad's a piece of fucking shit, so...
Yeah, I know.
But basically, Riker has the time they're at this starbase to make his decision, which is 12 hours.
Yeah.
And they happen to enter orbit around the space station, or the planet that the space station is at, anyway, the starbase.
Right.
They don't show it, so I assume it's a regular starbase, but I guess it could be on the planet's surface.
I thought it was a starbase. How would I mean, I don't know. I guess they just didn't have the shit yet. It's season 2, right? Pretty early. They didn't have any of that shit.
Eventually, in Deep Space Nine, when they show starbases, they just show Earth space dock shrunk down.
They showed those little ones from the games. They put them in the games then. They're those little ones that have that weird Scoopy thing on the front.
Oh yeah.
I can't like describe it, but yeah, it looks like a small-y Earth space dock, like much smaller.
I absolutely love Earth space dock though.
Oh, it's awesome looking, dude.
Fucking amazing. I love exploring it in STO.
Yeah, the sounds, like everything. There's like chatter and like the noises and shit. It's really cool.
You can go to a tailor. There's a tailor shop on Earth Starbase.
You can go to the Club 87 or whatever.
That place is
and it's like
dope.
There's like fucking techno aliens dancing in the hall in the ballroom.
Daft Punk is in there.
Dude, like alien Daft Punk, yeah.
So they're in orbit around the planet that I guess the starbase is around, and we learned that a civilian, like, strategic unit who knows something about this region that the Ares is headed to is going to be briefing Riker about the Ares mission. Like, they're coming aboard, and they're going to brief him about it.
Who could it be?
Yeah, it's this fucking shithole of a dad, Kyle Riker.
It's me, Kyle. Cut anything with my chin, Riker.
Here's the thing about Kyle Riker. Will says, it's been 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, since I saw you, and excitement isn't the correct emotion.
Yeah.
What that doesn't convey to us at that moment, that we learn as time goes on, is that that means he hasn't seen his father since he abandoned him. They haven't seen each other since.
Yeah. And like, he plays it real cool for like how shitty this is. Like, I would be like, oh fuck. I would be like, I'm leaving. I'm gonna go take the Ares now.
Could you imagine the cojones it would take as a father to abandon your son at age 13 and then show up 15 years later and be like, hey son, wanna play catch?
Yeah, well, he's like, you've done well for yourself. He's like such a prick. Like, he's just a dick face. And like, it's all under this, like, later, like, we find out it's all, like, under this, like, guise of, like, he was pushing him, and it's like, yeah, dude, like, you can do that and not abandon me.
Yeah, you didn't push him from age 13 until 28.
He did it.
You didn't push him at all.
He pushed himself. He did it. Nobody else, Kyle Riker didn't do it. Will Riker did.
Will's like, well, I gotta attend to my duties, send a security team to escort
this man or whatever,
this piece of shit to his room.
Dude, you hear it and you're like, whoa, and the audience goes, woo.
Then Kelly Bundy comes on and they all go, ow.
Yeah, the 80s.
So, we cut to the hero of the story, Wesley Crusher. And he runs up to Worf and he's like, Worf, did you hear about Riker's promotion? Did you hear about his dad showing up? Did you hear about my first pube?
He's talking to Worf like they're like school chums. It's like, dude, this dude doesn't give a fuck about your teenage bullshit, dude.
He's like, could you imagine if your dad showed up like that? And Worf's like, I did not know my father.
Yeah, I never knew my father, yeah.
And he's like, but what if it happened? What if it happened? Would you says,
enough! He like screams at him.
Yeah, and then he walks off, and everybody in the audience is like, yes.
Punch him, rip his throat.
Tear him apart, Worf.
Eat his intestines.
Back in engineering, this is when we learned Geordi LaForge lied about his ego not being bruised.
Yeah.
Because he's like, you guys don't have to check over this because I've already done it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he needs to just like learn how to like take off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'd be like, whatever, man.
Workaholic. He really is.
Yeah, I definitely would just be like, okay. I mean, it would suck though. Like if you're him and like you came back and like they fucked up your shit, I'd be fucking pissed.
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
Like, okay, this fucking sucks. But
he's got like chewing gum holding shit together back there. He doesn't want them to find that, right?
They think I'm this great engineer. I've just been chewing this gum.
Like the warp core is like 12 AA batteries like strung together. Like I don't want them to find that.
Yeah, if they find out that that's all it is, we're screwed.
I've just been making engine noises with my mouth for the past month.
And nobody notices because I have this visor on. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense, but I don't know.
But fucking Wesley's like, oh, Worf's being weird, and LaForge is like, yeah, he's a fucking Klingon. I'm a racist.
Yeah, there's kind of a little bit of that, like, who knows Klingons, am I right? It's like, what?
Am I right, guys? This other race sure is weird, right?
And then Data looks at him and is like, he does the cut it out. He does the, no, don't do that. He does that move.
The Joey Gladstone cut it out?
He does the throat, don't, you can see it. I'm doing it right now. Don't do that.
He keeps smiling in this episode, and I'm like, they should have explained that a little bit. Like he's trying to seem personable or something.
Data does?
Yeah, Data smiles a bunch in this episode.
I never noticed it. I don't notice it.
I noticed it.
I kind of just like, I watched this episode when I was like laying down on a tablet and I was like zoning out a little bit. The president was getting impeached today, so I was like,
Well, it's being set in motion, thankfully.
Yeah,
Hopefully that happens soon.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Fuck you, Trump. Anyway,
fuck you, Dad. Fuck you, Trump.
Back in fucking Trump is not my dad. Jesus Christ, could you imagine?
No, I'm saying both.
Could you imagine how fucking weird I would stand?
I mean, it's like part of your genetics, apparently.
Could you imagine how much of a turkey gobbler I would have in my 20s? Anyway, back over in 10 Forward, it turns out that Riker and O'Brien are like best friends.
Yeah, O'Brien's in this one, and I always forget that, and I'm always like, oh, right, they're cool.
The thing about the thing about any episode of TNG that has O'Brien in it is that he delivers like 5 lines, and they're great. So good.
Yeah, they're all good. It's no wonder they were like, get this dude on a fucking show, right? Like
he's way better than the bit part he's playing right now.
Yeah, he's better than Pulaski. He's better than a lot of people, especially in this episode.
But O'Brien is trying to guess what's wrong with Riker. He's like, is it drugs, alcohol, rock and roll?
Does your dick have space chlamydia inside of it?
He's like, it must be family, huh? And
then he says some weird line about you can't pick your family.
Yeah, he says you can pick your friends and you can pick your enemies, but family, that's in the stars.
It's in the stars. You can pick your nose, but you can't pick your family.
You can't pick your family's nose.
Yeah.
Kyle Riker comes in and he's like greeting all these people. They're like, oh, Kyle, my hero. I love how you abandoned your son.
Duke from G.I. Joe is here. Cool.
Pulaski comes in and comes up to him and like fucking kisses him and hugs him.
Yeah.
And Riker's like, they know each other. And O'Brien's like, no kidding. We know each other, but we don't do that.
That's such a good line.
Wesley, Data, and Geordi like form like a fucking Hardy Boys crew to figure out what's wrong with Worf.
Yeah, what's wrong with our friend? And like, I like that they just like decide Worf is their friend. Like, this is the episode where they're like, okay, Worf is people's friend.
Here's
like,
the thing as well. They decide Worf is their friend in the first part of this episode, and then in the second part, they decide he's their family.
Yeah, it goes real quick. Maybe that's where all the new Star Treks got that shit from.
Maybe. It's so they were just fast. They're like, you remember the guy who became security chief because the other one got slapped to death?
By a tar
He's
monster.
Our family now.
Yeah, he's part of our family for sure.
So Dr. Pulaski and Kyle Riker are making weird old people googly eyes at each other.
Yeah, their dusty private parts are slowly lubricating for each other.
But Will tells his dad, like, I'm ready for my briefing, you old fucking piece of shit. And then he leaves.
Yeah, that's right.
And Pulaski's like, let's fuck.
Yeah, she does say that. I remember. They don't even bleep it.
They do bleep it. It's actually the longest bleep in history.
She says fuck like super. Yeah, it's crazy.
And her mouth, she's just mouthing the word fuck like super slowly.
Yeah, and it zooms in on it too, like really slow, like Tim and Eric style. It zooms in. Just cuts in.
Kyle Riker and Pulaski have like a whole conversation about their like past relationships that I didn't pay attention to.
Yeah, you get like some background or whatever.
It turns out that fucking Pulaski has had 3 husbands who she divorced.
She's bones, dude. She's fucking bones.
She takes a swig of her fucking drink and she says, "All that left me were my bones.
All that left me were my bones.
All my osteoporosized bones." She says she's still friends with all of her ex-husbands, and Kyle's like, like us? And she's like, no, my ex-husbands knew what their feelings were, you stupid idiot.
Whoops. That dude's stepping on landmines.
But she, like, kind of, like, digs into him a little bit, but then later she takes up for all of the shit he did and refuses to hear anything bad.
Yeah. Hey, did
you know that your dad almost died once? That means it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay because he almost died. It's all right. Yeah, it's okay that he almost died. So you should be like not mean to him because that's what this is really about. You're being mean to him.
You're the one who's at fault here for not.
He's a baby. You need to baby him. You need to treat him like a big baby.
You know, even if we
Is it bleeding through that we don't like our dads
I was gonna take a step away from that for a moment and explain that even if we didn't have negative relationships with our fathers, this is still shitty writing.
Yeah, it's shitty. Yeah, it's like lazy, right? It's creating a conflict out of like people dismissing logic.
Yes.
Like
it's like
logically,
all emotion.
Yeah.
Is like Spock would be like, "You people are stupid. What are you doing?"
Yeah. The only one who really kind of like sticks up for Will is Deanna. Like she like comes in and kind of like tries to crack the nut. You know what I mean? Like she kind of like psychoanalyzes him a little bit, but that's a little bit later.
Before any of that happens, we return to our very interesting B plot where Worf is sad.
Nobody knows how Klingons get like that. Who knows what they're thinking? They're crazy.
Fucking ridgeheads? Who knows?
We've only been around them for like a century. God only knows what they could be possibly thinking about.
So he's just staring out at space with his arms crossed, being Worf.
Yeah,
and you know what's funny is that this episode Worf is Deep Space Nine Worf for the whole time.
Yeah. Well, Deep Space Nine Worf is like much more older and like way more annoying. I'd say he's Deep Space Nine Worf is more annoying. Yeah, he's whiny. He's like whiny.
Data's like, Worf's probably just lonely. We should go over there and be friends with him. And Geordi's like, you go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting a bad feeling about this.
He's like, Worf, your friends love you, and we're worried about you, and we want to hang out with you and talk about the good times and the beta times. And Worf says, with all due respect, be gone!
It's great. It's so good.
And Data, like, fucking backs away from him.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Worf seems to value his solitude.
Yep. Well, he tried to warn you. Geordi was, like, pretty much being like, don't do that.
Yeah. Will Riker goes back to his quarters, starts looking at holo photos.
Yeah, of Alaska and his dad and a fish. They're fishing.
Alaska looks pretty cool, actually, because it's got these fucking, like, geodesic domes all over it.
Makes sense, right? It's fucking, like, I'm assuming that the climate has, like, fixed itself by now.
God,
and,
here's
like,
hoping,
it's probably,
right?
Oh, they have the weather thing, right? They have, like, the weather system, so, like, it's probably fine. So it's probably fucking cold as shit again up there, like, crazy cold.
Gotta get your dome one.
Yeah, live in a dome, a geodesic dome.
Worf comes in and he's like, oh, I've got something to say, but I don't know how to say it because I'm a dumb old Klingon.
This is one of my all-time favorite parts of the show, and like I guess that means this episode's kind of okay because like this part rules, but I love this part.
What do you love about this part exactly?
I love because he's like you can tell like they really are friends. Like they're friends, right? Like Worf and Riker are like friends.
Like Worf has this deep, abiding respect for Riker.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't say it in this scene, but he wants to go with him because he respects him so much.
He says it. He says, "I want to go with you," and then Riker's like, "I don't know if I'm going," and then he says, whatever you do, I'm sure you'll make the right decision, right? And like,
Worf also wants to die in battle because he doesn't feel like a Klingon. He feels like a shitty like Starfleet bitch.
Yeah.
He wants to be,
which also comes up later many times.
He wants to be like a cool warrior Klingon, like all the cool books he read.
Yeah, well, he gets to do that later in his life, so
yeah,
he'll have plenty of that ahead.
But Riker pretty much cuts him off. He's like, "It would be honorable to die in battle," and he's like, "Worf, enough."
Yeah, we're not gonna do that, right? Like, he's like, we're not gonna die in battle.
And Worf's like, "I'll know you will do the right thing," and Will just kind of stands there like, "What the fuck was that about?"
Fuck, dude. I love it though, because it's like Riker is like the closest thing to a Klingon that Worf has, and like Worf has this like captainy respect, like he's like his crew, right? Like, and you get a sense like how Klingons are, like there's just captains who are like, they like their crew are like, they're like pirates almost, like they love their captain.
Oh
right?
yeah,
And,
I mean you get that with Martok and his crew.
yes,
later
like with
on as
Martok
well.
for sure.
They fucking love Martok.
Like
They'll
that,
follow
they
him
love
into
that guy.
anything.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Worf respects Riker because Riker has this like control that Worf doesn't have. This like,
right.
He's also like a brilliant strategy guy.
He's like cool, right? Like he has like
Yeah.
style. Like he's just very like charismatic, and like you want to be around that guy, right? You want him.
It's very much like the Klingons that like Worf read about, like the warriors who were always at one step ahead, right?
Yeah, Core and
Kang and Koloth,
Kang, yeah, all those dudes.
all those old pieces of shit.
And then Kang turns into like a lunatic who has dementia. Kang
is one of my favorite Klingons. I fucking love Kang.
I love when he's losing it, and you're like, oh god, Pop-Up's off his meds.
So Will finally goes to the briefing where he meets his dad, and his dad's like, "We're finally alone," and Will's like, "Just give me the briefing."
He gives him like a disc or whatever, like a flash drive, and he's like, "You could have just sent this to me, like you just transmitted it to me."
And he's like, "But I wanted to talk, and I've heard such great things about you." And Will's
You've
like,
done well
"Why
for
haven't I
yourself."
heard from you?
Yeah, and then he starts. That's when the scab gets picked. That's when you're like, "Oh god, here we go."
Kyle does this like basic bullshit 101, like barely a Band-Aid type thing where he says, "Well, there's no manual for being a parent. You just have to wing it."
Right, and it's like, yeah, but yeah, you were really bad at it. Like,
yeah, you literally stopped. You gave up. That's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
He brings up Will's dead mom, and Will breaks the fuck out. He's done. That's the tipping point.
Yeah. He's like, she was my wife, and it's like, what? Like, you can't quantify that shit, man. Like, and that's like that super Freudian shit where it's like, your mom is like your dad's wife, or your dad's like whatever, you know, like relation. Like they're not.
Yeah, like
it's
that
like
whole back and forth happens like a little bit later.
A little bit later, yeah. They set it up here though, where
well, he's straight up like, "I'm here with my hand out," and Will just fucking leaves. He doesn't say a word. He's done.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I wish that like one show in history would be like, you know what? You don't have to keep interacting with the toxic person in your life.
Right. They're not changing. They're making you change. Which, like, from my point of view, like, why do I have to be the grown up? You know what I mean? Like, you like Kyle Riker was never the grown up ever. And they kind of talk about that later.
I've had conversations with like dozens of people who've had like negative experiences with any of their parents. Yeah. And we all end up talking about how TV and movies refuses to allow you to not reconcile with your shithole of a parent. No matter how bad they were to you. You have to reconcile. And in reality,
most people don't. Like a lot of most people just don't.
Not to.
What is there to say? What is there to do and say, right? Like, oh, it's fixed now. Like, no, it's not. You can't fix this. There's no fixing that. There's no fixing abandoning your kid.
No.
There's no way.
The only way to fix it is to time travel back and not abandon your child.
Don't do that. Right. And then somehow be good at or be better. It's this whole thing where you're like, I don't know, it's like a fool me once situation. You know what I mean? Where you can be like, you could go and be like, okay, I'm like kind of okay with it. And then like something else happens or like typically nothing changes and you're just like mad about it again in like a couple of years. Right. Like, yeah, that's the reality.
Like, I had a friend whose, like, mother was, like, a drug addict.
Yeah.
And she came back to visit. My friend was a girl, and this was her mother. So, her mom came to visit her. And, like, she hadn't seen her mom in, like, 6 years.
Yeah.
And her mom found out where she lived and came to visit her without telling her she was coming.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea.
And she basically forced her way into her house, and when my friend tried to get her to leave, she, like, called her sisters and stuff who had, like, basically taken care of my friend her whole life. And they were straight up like, no, you should let your drug dealer mom live with you.
Right.
And
no, like, there's no way.
She had like track marks and shit in her arm right now, and she's like, "Well, I'll take you." My friend was like, "I'll take you to like a rehab center."
Right.
And like, even her aunts were like, "You're being horrible to her."
Right.
And I was like,
"It's crazy.
You have to be kidding me."
It's crazy. Like, that's the reality of like real life, and that's where like maybe because this is Star Trek, right? Like, there's like. People are a little more in touch with their emotions. I mean, Riker's much more calm than I would be about any of this. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I would have flown off the fucking handle.
Like, Kyle Riker is like a now father. He's not like a Star Trek future father. He's like He's like a now shitty abandoning father.
Right.
But we fucking have to sit through cutesy moments with Kyle and Pulaski over and over again.
Yeah, I kind of zone out with that because like I don't give a fuck about. That's just like another like element to the story where they were like, we need to have more talking because there's not a whole lot of things happening in this episode.
No, it's pretty much Riker and his dad have like an almost argument and then split apart, and then someone puts their fucking nose in the business it doesn't need to be.
Yeah, and it gets like put back together. Yeah. Because, like, Troy does it next, right? She talks to Kyle.
She talks to Kyle, and, like, she digs the fuck into him pretty heavily.
Yeah, no, this is pretty good. Like, this is why you marry Troy, right? Later.
Yeah.
This is why you marry, because you're like, all right.
She says, you want to be closer to him, and I'd like to help you, but, like, what do you want from him? Like, it seems like you're trying to force him to respect you and to accept you as something better than him, and that's the only way you'll ever be happy.
Right. And she says respect is earned, not bestowed, which is like great. It's perfect.
Yeah. And
that's what we're really talking about. Like in real life, like people assume that you just have to respect these people, and it's like that's not how respect works. Like I don't think people understand really how respect works.
Even if like you're supposed to respect your family members automatically, like that can be ruined. Like respect
that can go away.
Destroyed.
Right. Absolutely.
And then you have to earn it back. It's not just given back to you instantly.
It's not free. Yeah.
No. And she says straight up, like, you're trying to compete with your own son. What does that say about you?
Right.
And he sort of fucking storms off.
Yeah, he's like, I hate thoughts.
He's like, my son will take the position on the Ares because it's what I will do.
Right, and we're very similar. That my dad has said similar things to me like that, and it's like, yeah, but like the big differences are the ways that I'm not the same as you. You know what I mean? Like there are like
always
major
gonna be some overlap between like family members, no matter how much you wish there wasn't.
Right. Like it's just genetics, right?
Because my relationship with almost my entire family ain't great, so I don't try not to think about any of that.
Yeah.
But, like, Will and Kyle have certain things in common, but, like, they're completely different people. Like, Will would never abandon his own son.
Right. And, like, yeah, like, I don't know.
Will fucking takes in the space kid who tries to trick him into being his father.
Right.
You never see him again, but whatever.
That space alien baby or whatever, right? That
the kid who uses his fucking psychic power to trick him.
Like reads his brain.
Basically, we switch on over to Riker back in his quarters stewing.
Yeah.
And Picard comes in and starts asking him some... he's like, you got any questions about the mission? And they have this whole conversation about a Commander Flaherty.
Yeah, he knows like 40 languages or something.
Which is like filler, because it has nothing to do with...
Yeah, it's like world building, kind of cool. Like, it's kind of cool because like later you get Hoshi, and Hoshi can do that sort of similar type of thing, right? Like, it's kind of like you kind of see like a pattern, but like this is meaningless. It's nothing, right?
It has absolutely nothing to do with the story, but it is very much a world building thing.
Yeah, you're like, oh, cool.
Always tries to slip in.
Yeah.
This time around, this is kind of the only moment of it, so it really sticks out.
Yeah.
However, like, Kyle won't fucking leave his son alone, so he comes in and Picard's there, and they have this conversation that makes Will, like, visually uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And Kyle gets Picard to leave, and they have this conversation about, like, Will doesn't want to take this assignment because it's what his father wants for him.
Right.
Later on throughout the series, we learn that Will's real reason for staying is because he feels like he has a family here aboard the Starship Enterprise D.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that he doesn't leave. I was thinking, like, in a time perspective, like, if Riker leaves, the Federation probably falls, right?
It's true. He's
Picard
like a
becomes
linchpin throughout.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. If it wasn't for Riker, Picard would have stayed Locutus. So,
yeah, we'd have all been fucked. It would have been fucked. So it's a good thing he doesn't go.
Yeah, no doubt. But
Spoiler alert.
This is when, like, the worst moment in the episode happens for me.
Yeah.
The moment that, like, makes Kyle absolutely irredeemable as a character.
Yeah.
Up until now, like, he's already been irredeemable because, like, you know that he left Riker to fend for himself at age 13 or whatever, age 15. Mm-hmm. But Will says, I've been taking care of myself since I was 15. I don't need you. And Kyle says, spare me the pain of your childhood. I hung in for 13 years. If that wasn't enough, it's just too bad. And then storms out.
It's like ridiculous,
like,
right?
This man is a scumbag.
Yeah, he's
lowest
a piece
of the
of
low.
Shit. Yeah, it's probably like super illegal what he did. Also,
yeah,
like abandoning your child is like pretty fucking illegal. I don't know.
Like, I just don't know how the writer... Like, the only thing that makes any sense to me about the writer of this episode is that he's a deadbeat dad.
Or he had one and he just wanted to make... But again, like, if he did have one, like, ending it on this happy... But it's like television. I guess you gotta... I mean...
You have to, is the thing. Like, you cannot introduce
can't.
a strained family relationship in a show
and
not have them reconcile.
It's bullshit. It's like one of those stupid TV rules.
And I hate it. I absolutely hate that.
It's dumb.
It creates an environment where, in the real world, if you don't reconcile with a family member who's, like, abused you or treated you horribly or whatever, everyone in your family, and even people who aren't even related to you, will think less of you and treat you badly.
It's an abusive relationship. I mean, that's what it is. It's gaslighting. It's like people are fucking gaslighting you.
Yeah, it's absolutely what it is.
They're like, well, maybe it's your fault. And it's like, or maybe it's their fault. Like, I'm a child. This person is a grown-up. Like, how is it my fault?
It's like media has, like, brainwashed us into that.
Yes.
As well.
It's the same thing with, like, happy endings and, like, people getting together and shit. The reality is life is, like, really, really complicated.
Yeah, and nothing is as simple as, like, a 30-minute, like, or an hour-long drama on TV. Like, things don't work that way.
Right.
And sometimes it is better to cut someone out of your life if they're toxic to you, regardless of whether you share the same blood or not.
Right. There's no rule that says, like, you have to, like, suffer their bullshit. Like that's crazy.
Like, I share 99.9% of my DNA with chimpanzees. Like, am I supposed to be, like, family with them as well? Like,
exactly.
It's, like, there's really not that much difference between my blood and a complete stranger's blood. Like...
Yeah.
It's strange. It's also strange to me. Like, family dynamics are very strange to me.
I agree. I think that's why we get along so well, because I think we kind of see that. Because I think that also, like, family isn't a lot like this episode. Like, family isn't like necessarily just your family. It's also people you decide you want to be your family, who have earned your respect and your trust.
I find that a lot more meaningful. Like, family, like O'Brien says, you don't choose your family, it's just given to you. You have no choice in the matter, but you can choose who you care about and who you have in your life.
Yeah.
That's important. And even if TV won't give you the okay for it, the Trek boys will give you the okay. Pick and choose who you want in your life. What's best for you.
Yeah, don't feel like you have to, like, do something... And I, from personal experience, like, people are always like, well, you should, or this is the way it should be. Yeah, like, lots of fucking things should be some way, right? Things should be lots of ways that are bad.
Sometimes they just aren't.
They just aren't. Yeah.
Anyway, back in engineering, Geordi, is, like, he's starting to get nervous, right? Like, he's starting to be that perfectionist Geordi that we all know. Like, oh shit, what if they find something wrong in what I did, right?
Right.
And Data's like, nah, that's not gonna happen. And they start having, like, a little conversation about the diagnostics that they've done. But none of that's as important as Wesley's life. We have to care about Wesley. He's like, guys, I spent all night studying my fucking books, my nerd books. I couldn't remember the thing he was talking about. The fucking,
I don't remember.
The Klingon
Age of Ascension.
Ritual. I forget the names of the books, but anyway, it's like Klingon bullshit. And he's like, it's the 10th anniversary of Worf's Age of Ascension, and you're supposed to celebrate the 10th anniversary with a ritual where you get stabbed in the nipples
with tasers, with cattle prods.
So they decide to do a holodeck simulation of the Age of Ascension 10th anniversary ritual, which apparently doesn't have a name.
Yeah, it's just the whatever. Age of Ascension, 10 years. A look back at all the good times.
All I can wonder is, like, what did he do on his Age of Ascension?
I think they do the same shit.
Yeah, but he didn't know any Klingons.
Oh yeah, maybe he. I think, did they talk about it with his family? Don't they talk about something? There's some references. I'm sure there is.
Probably. And
I don't know.
There's a lot of, like, from an outside looking in, I don't understand, like, stepchildren relationships.
Yeah.
Because, like, I've never been a stepchild, so I don't understand them.
I'm a redheaded. I'm not a stepchild, but I'm a redhead. So I know, like, half.
Everyone knows, Josh. But
do they? Are you sure? Do they need proof?
Worf, whenever he talks about his father, he's like, I never knew my father or whatever. I'm like, what about fucking Sergei Rishenko, motherfucker?
Yeah,
he was your father.
Engines and shit.
He loves the shit out of you, man.
Yeah.
But I don't, like I said, I don't know the stepchild relationship. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the Rishenkos took care of him and, like, gave him his Age of Ascension and everything.
Yeah, I'm sure they, who fucking knows, found some Age of Ascension, like, Discovery Zone, like Chuck E. Cheese, where you just get, like, stabbed with fucking cattle prods when you're, like, 10 years old or whatever.
Shit.
You're like 16 and there's, let's go to Chuck E. Cheese Age of Ascension, and Chuck E. Cheese is like, welcome, warrior.
Welcome, Patak.
Just fucking gawk everywhere.
Fucking gog on your pizza.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Riker being a much better guy than me, goes to apologize to Pulaski for asking her anything about her personal life.
Yeah, he's pretty nice about it.
And she's like, even if it involves your father? And he's like, even then. Yeah. And then she tells the stupid fucking story about, like, 12 years ago, he almost died.
He fought the Tholians, because the Tholians are fucking terrifying.
Yeah. And
they're, like, crazy.
He was the only one at the starbase who didn't die because he had such a fucking fight for his life or whatever. And Will's
fight for your life! That song played while he's rehabbing.
And Will's like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's like, yeah.
If I was Will, I would have been like, who gives a fuck?
Did I ever tell you? Okay, so my dad had like a heart attack when I was like 18, 19, maybe 20. I don't remember. But he had a heart attack like on a ladder, and the ladder broke, and it stabbed him in his lung, and it punctured his lung. So like he told me this like later, like after the fact, like a couple days later, and I like laughed. I went, "What?" Because it was like a ridiculous ass fucking story, right?
It's like a fucking accident that happens to like goddamn like a silent movie actor.
It was like a Home Alone script. I was like, "Wait, what?" And he was like, "Well, you like laughing?" And I was like, "What you just said is absolutely insane." I was like, "Did you want me not to laugh at that? Like you told me like it was just like this happens all the time when people have heart attacks. They just puncture their lungs. Like what?" Yeah.
He was trying to fucking fix the clock on Big Ben. He tripped and fell and punctured his lung.
He was holding onto the hand and then was moving. Yeah. So Riker being like, "Oh God," like I mean, why does he? I don't know. I would be like,
Riker's a better person than us, I guess.
I'd have been like, yeah, who cares?
But Pulaski's like, I would have married him first chance I got, and his career, and she's like, but he had another priority, and Will was like, yeah, his career. And Pulaski says, Will, if you're going to take that command on the Ares, you should probably get rid of all that emotional baggage before you board.
It's like... What?
And the audience is like, ooh.
It's like, what are you talking about?
If I was Will, I would have been like, Pulaski, why don't you fucking butt out? This has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, I'd be like, you don't know anything. You didn't even marry him. I'd have been like, you didn't even fucking marry him, dude. I would have been
like, look, Dr. Pulaski, you got fucked by my dad a couple times. You have no place in this conversation whatsoever.
Oh, I would have gone for the jugular. I'd have been like, this dude is so fucked up. He met another love of his life and couldn't even marry her. I'd have been like, that's how fucked up this guy is. And you're going to sit here and tell me to get rid of my emotional baggage? I'd have fucking wrecked her day, dude.
What about your emotional baggage, Pulaski?
Exactly.
You're fucking pining after some dude who doesn't want you real hard.
You sure you could be a doctor? I don't know. You got to have a lot of emotional baggage, Pulaski. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Wesley, Data, and Geordi are figuring out their Age of Ascension ritual, and they find out they need to be using them pain sticks. Which, as it turns out, is spelled Painstiks.
Oh, they don't have the C anymore?
It's super spacey. It's like sci-fi as fuck. Pain sticks.
We've evolved past the need for the silent C.
Geordi's like not on board, right? Like he's real weirded out by the idea of like forcing pain on some dude for a dumb ritual.
Yeah.
Really, like, everybody's very uncomfortable with this. But the thing is, you're not gonna kill him, and it's, like, part of his heritage.
Yeah, they're Klingons, man. They're, like, fucking hard as fuck. Like, you're not gonna... we don't get to the point yet where O'Brien talks about the thing's head exploding, which is, like, so random. It's, like, such a random, weird thing.
We haven't got to that yet, but you're right. Like, Klingons shove pain sticks in each other's nipples like all the time. Every holiday.
They like evolved to be like brutal warriors. Like they're just fucking hard as nails, dude.
Dude, like every holiday, every bar mitzvah, every fucking cookout, pain sticks to the genitals and nipples.
Fun is painful for them. Like that's what fun is to them.
And the thing is, like, it's a ritual that has to do with their heritage and their religion, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you gotta respect that shit. Especially when it's not hurting anyone except the guy who wants to get hurt in it.
Yeah, he just wants his nipples super twisted off. Get over it.
That's what pain sticks are. They just have like a robot hand that gives you a purple nurple.
Purple nurples. I gotta get me one of these pain sticks. Ugh. I mean, what?
Will Riker goes to talk to his real dad, Picard.
Finally.
He's like, Picard's like, well, I can't tell you whether you should take the position or not, and I also can't tell you whether I think you should take the position or not.
Right.
That's all up to you. And he gives him sort of an A and B scenario, and he really does make A sound better than B.
Mm-hmm.
Although, for him, B is the best, because he says there's no substitute for holding the reins. Did you notice Patrick Stewart's really hamming it up in this episode?
Yeah, it's like he knew he wasn't in it a whole bunch, so he's sort of like laying it on. He's real upbeat, sort of. He's like
he like does the little like he's talking to a little kid. He goes shh. He does a little hand motion before he says there's no substitute for holding the reins.
Yeah, he's real great. I love it. I love every second of it.
Riker says he needs some more time to decide. I guess it hasn't been 12 hours yet, which is super not very Star Trek-y, since they're usually like, oh, well, we got to travel to Omicron Persei 7. It'll only take us 8 days. And then, like, the camera pans and it's 8 days later.
Yeah, and they're like, Captain's log. It's 8 days. Yeah, they, like, time jump.
But instead, this whole episode takes place in a night.
One long night.
It's Weekend at Bernie's, but on a spaceship.
Oh, God, I'd watch the fuck out of that. They do that in DS9. They fucking do that shit.
Oh yeah, they do.
When they go to
like
Terra
a robotic with Weekend at Bernie's.
The what is it called? The Fistful of Ferengi or whatever the fuck. The name of it.
It's the Magnificent Ferengi.
The Magnificent. That's what it is.
Yeah, they do it with one of the Vorta.
The Vorta. They've turned him into a fucking Bernie's.
This is when O'Brien gets asked if he wants to come.
He's like, sure, I love being in shows.
They're like, O'Brien, you want to come to this this party? And he's like, sounds interesting.
Sure.
I like Data is also a little out of character, where he says, were I not a consummate professional and an android, I would find all of this very insulting. Geordi's like, yeah, you tell him.
Dude, this episode's all over the place. It's like all over the map, dude.
It is wild all over the place. And then we get a nice little touching scene with Will and Deanna Troi.
Yeah. Get some love.
They talk about their emotions. They're trying to kind of be a little professional or whatever, but Will says, like, how do you really feel? And she says, I can't feel your feelings the way I normally can. Do you feel sad? Mm-hmm. They both say they do, and they hug, and she cries, and he holds back tears, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then they don't interact in this way except, like, twice for, like, 6 more seasons. And they get married.
Either they're like fucking on the DL, or everyone just sort of is like, I guess we just kind of forgot about that really touching moment where basically we said we loved each other still.
Yeah, that doesn't really matter for 6 seasons and 3 movies, and then they get married.
We just got busy with like the Borg and shit, so
shit happens, man.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Will heads back to his room, and of course Kyle is there being a fucking bugaboo. Fucking call MCI, make my email stop.
Holy
Nobody's
shit.
Gonna get that joke.
That's like a ridiculous reference.
Nobody's gonna get that. But like Will like lets him in his room, but he's straight up like, look, I want you off the ship. I want you off the ship, and I never want to see you again.
Yeah.
And his dad's like, you're lucky there isn't an Anbo-jitsu space around here, else I'd kick your butt.
I'm a part of Cobra Kai, I'll fucking kill you.
And Will's like, well, actually, there's one on deck 13, you fucking wrinkled ball sack. You want to fight? And you're like, oh man, this is gonna be like a crazy cool martial arts match.
Yeah, it's gonna rule.
But will it? Find out after these messages from our sponsors.
After the messaging, we'll be right back.
The word for today is global.
And Global's got the one and the only Pee-wee and his Playhouse, just for you.
Good morning, girls and boys. I'm going through some of my toys. Hey, I'm a poet and don't know it. Yippee-oh-ki!
And meet some of Pee-wee's friends,
Howdy, Pee-wee. Howdy, Cowboy Curtis.
who keep the Playhouse hopping.
Yeah, I'm right in the middle of cleaning the fish tank.
Pee-wee can make anything an adventure, even this.
Too bad you're gonna miss all the fun. What fun? Vacuuming!
It's like Christmas every week at Pee-wee's Playhouse.
That answer your question?
So, listen to Pee-wee when he says...
Global's got Pee-wee's Playhouse.
That's right.
Hey, that's me.
Saturday morning at 10.
Back to the show.
And we're back. It's what you've been waiting for, baby. The whole episode, the whole point.
We didn't even say what collection this was.
Oh yeah, I announced it at the end of the last episode, but
Oh, they
nobody
should, right,
listens to more than one of these. So, this is a sports collection as suggested by Jash Hondersan.
And Jack Carpenter, I think, said it too at one point. I want to
Probably. That sounds
give
like
him
a
little
Jack
credit.
Carpenter thing to me.
Yeah, because he played for the Packers.
He what?
Wasn't he on the practice squad? I think he was.
Maybe, I don't know.
Did I invent that?
He's
Did I make
a
that
strong,
up?
strong boy. I know that about him.
He's good looking.
But yeah, he's a handsome boy. Will and his dad challenge one another to an Ambo Jutsu match.
Which is like all the fucking karates put together.
Yeah, it is the they call it the ultimate
Martial art.
yeah the ultimate collaboration of all martial arts, and it's very slow blind American gladiators.
It's very phallic, which I think is appropriate for this.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a whole conversation about how men are stupid fucking Neanderthals. a
Yeah,
second
we're
before
children. Yeah, we're children, and that's why we're loved, but also why we're idiots. And then they fight with big padded dicks.
this. I want to discuss the constraints of this, like the rules or like how it's done when we get there. But first, Pulaski has a conversation with Kyle about how he shouldn't be like solving his problems with violence, but
Sure.
she's mostly worried because he's like a million years old and Will is gonna kick his ass.
Yeah, she's like, I'm his doctor, and like, that dude is like perfect.
Like, he's a Greek god and you're
Yeah.
like a melted wax candle of a man.
You're like a peep that was in the microwave for like 5 seconds. You're like bloated and just dying and just sad.
Well, Pulaski, it's true. Pulaski goes to meet Geordi, Data, Wesley, and O'Brien, who's also there for some reason.
I'm here. It's me, O'Brien. Tallulah.
At the, at Worf's, God, that's a good impression. I thought he was here.
It's him. It's Cole Meany.
Cole
Hey,
Meany.
welcome, Colm.
Tallulah.
Tallulah.
Counselor Troy brings Worf to the holodeck, and Worf is just being a big fucking baby about it.
He's like, what are we doing?
I'm at the end of my patience, Counselor.
I cannot be bothered to walk down this hallway. He's like so annoyed. It's like, dude.
She's like, I'm gonna leave you, and you go inside this holodeck. And he's like, ugh.
He's like, aren't you coming? And she's like, nah.
I got other stuff to do, like complain about my ex-boyfriend.
Totally not gonna go watch you get nipple twisted, bro.
But his family, the characters he loves the most, Data, O'Brien, Wesley, Pulaski, and Geordi, have set
Katrina Scruffy.
have set up a bunch of Klingons in a row holding pain sticks on 2 raised platforms.
Yeah, so they all had to make up these. There's like, I don't know, like 8 of them, 10 of them. Some, I don't know how many. I think there's 8 of them. They had to put 8 Klingon makeups on dudes.
Yeah, for this, it's obvious. Like they're hardly shown in close up because there are 2 different types of Klingon makeup. Yeah. They have the one that's like meticulously put on, like the Michael Dorn style. And then they have a forehead appliance attached to a wig that they attach to the eyebrows, and that's it.
Right, and it's like it kind of looks like a Yeti or like a Sasquatch or something.
Pretty much. But Worf goes through this whole fucking ordeal where he walks between them, and every 2 of them shove pain sticks into his nipples.
Twice.
And he screams and says some stuff in Klingon every time.
He's supposed to say his fears or something, right? What he's most afraid of. Oh, his true feelings. Okay. So we don't know what he's fucking saying. Because I mean, is he speaking real Klingon? I don't know. I don't know Klingon.
I like to.
I'm not a super nerd.
Dude.
Yeah, I would like to think he is too, right?
But you would learn Klingon if you could.
I would absolutely learn Klingon.
I would love. I've said it before, but I would love to learn Sindarin, the Elven language.
Oh god, that would be great. We could speak Sindarin.
That would be fucking amazing.
That'd be rad.
But Worf basically like almost passes out at the end, and he's like, I finally got my nut. Ugh."
And he comes back in like several more times to do that again.
He goes again.
He goes, computer. Save program.
But Pulaski's like real busy today, so she goes to talk to Deanna, and they have this whole conversation about how male humans are barbaric and violent, and they never seem to grow up, but that makes them super sexy.
Sorry, I was yawning because it's like really late. But they're like children. That's why we like them. But also, fuck men. And you're like, all right,
90s.
That's true, I guess.
All right, 90s surface level television feminism.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So this is our first and only view of Ambo Jutsu.
Yeah, the sport of kings.
It takes place in like an octagonal type of. It's actually just a big circle inside of an octagon.
But it has a sweet like kanji in it, which I don't know.
It has a giant kanji on the floor. Which
I think it says like radical.
It probably says like gaijin on it. Honky. And the way it's played, you dress in paintball gear.
Yeah.
That is painted either white or red, like you're a chess piece. Like you're a checker.
Yeah, like checkers. Like the game Checkers.
And you have an American Gladiator staff.
But it also has a light on the end of it that senses where you are or something.
It's like a sensor, and I think it senses the other person.
Yeah, so it senses like where they are. So you can't see, but you have to hear it or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, which is really fucking stupid, but...
Yeah, why don't you just, like, not do that part? Like, just fight, like, with a stick.
And it doesn't work well because they pointed at each other and it's, like, going fucking wild for ages before either of them moves.
Yeah, it's like they have to, like, be respectful or something. It's, like, sumo-esque almost. Yeah, it's like all of the things put together.
It's every martial art ever...
Including
all
American
put together,
Gladiators.
as long as you've only ever watched American ninja movies.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb. But they do cool flips.
Does not fucking pull his punches. He straight up starts the match by saying, "You should have died instead of Mom."
Yep, he's like a lot, dude. He's fucking Musashiing him. He's fucking getting in his head, dude. Psychological warfare is warfare, dude.
Straight up harshest shit, like coldest shit Will Riker ever said to anybody.
Bury
and
you,
I love
old man. I'll put you in the damn ground.
I hope you bought a fucking double plot next to Mom, because that's where you're going.
Say hi to mom when I fuck your life up, you fucking bitch. Which, like, he says that at one point, which, again, was weird. Because it's like, how do they let
fit the spirit of Star Trek very well.
Yeah, he's like, damn. Pissed.
He says, I must have got all my dick size from mom's side of the family. But Will, like, fucking wrecks his dad the first round, right?
Yeah, he fucks
And his
him
dad
up.
comes back and uses the illegal move.
Yeah, what's it called? It's here. Hold on. It's called...
Hachidan Kiritsu.
Hachidan Karitsu. You use the Hachidan Karitsu. And you're like, oh, fuck, what the fuck does that mean?
He's like, you cheated. And he's like, yeah, I did. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
That's how I always win. And he's like, you've been cheating my whole fucking life?
Yeah.
This is when Kyle Riker says, you didn't even know your mom. I knew her. I loved her.
Yeah, he was like, you were a baby.
My love for your mom is more important than your love for your mom.
Yeah, that's how love works. On tears.
Also, I have no excuse whatsoever why I abandoned you, and we just stopped talking about it at this point, and it's never brought up again.
We'll just pretend that was fixed because of reasons. Ta-da! Dads.
They're just arguing, this fucking hateful, virulent arguing. And then Kyle says, you know, I can talk to a room full of admirals, but I can't tell you how I feel. And Riker just stops. His whole demeanor changes instantly. And he says, well, how do you feel?
Yeah.
And Kyle says, I love you. And then they hug, and everything's fine. Because he said the L word.
So the dude gets caught cheating, finds out that he's been cheating against his son since he was 12. Because he couldn't beat him when he was 12.
How shitty is he at this sport?
And then he's just like, I love you, and that's all it takes.
That's it. You say the L word, you can just leave. You can leave your son in the middle of Alaska by himself at age 13. Yeah. But if you come back 15 years later and say you love him, it's fine.
I'm telling you, man, Riker's going to go back to his quarters like 2 nights from now, maybe a couple weeks. He's going to be like, that motherfucker is an asshole. I guarantee you, that's what a real human being would do. They'd be like, that guy is a motherfucking asshole.
In my version of this script, after, like, he fucking, like, sits down in his chair at the end of the thing, they're like, did you reconcile with your dad? And he's like, oh, fuck no. I just told him what he wanted so he'd leave.
Yeah, I just wanted him to go. I saw, like, I caught him cheating at Ambu Jitsu. So, that's pretty dishonorable.
I let him hug me so he would leave.
Yeah, I just wanted to get it over with, because I decided I was going to stay, so I needed him to go.
Yeah, he comes back and he's like rejuvenated.
Yeah.
Refreshed by his experience of being a TV son and forgiving his TV dad.
I'm a TV son now.
And Picard's like, oh, what are you doing here, number one? And he says, oh, permission to return to my fucking first officer position. Because of motivated self-interest. The best place for me to be is here.
Yeah, this will happen 500 more times.
Yes. I like his like later times when this happens where he tells Picard that he wants his job. It's the only job he'll take.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's awesome, though. That's really cool.
The only captaincy I want is of the Enterprise. Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm creeping up on you. Yeah, he's his real dad.
Fucking 100%.
Picard is dad to all the best ones. Data, Riker, Worf.
He's a surrogate dad for everybody.
That kid in the turbo lift, when they get stuck in the turbo lift.
Yeah, those kids are also his family.
The girl is the only one who holds it together, and that one weird kid, like, eats glue or whatever.
Yeah, he's definitely the eating glue kid.
And then there's the super nerd who's like, I'm so afraid. He's just afraid.
That was me. Oh, you mean in the show?
Yeah, in the show, yeah.
That was me.
Yeah.
It was Picard Day. Do you celebrate Picard Day?
What day is it? Well, like, what day of the year?
I don't remember.
I would. I want that fucking banner.
Dude, I would love to hang that banner up.
Doesn't he have that somewhere else at some point? He like I think he like takes it out at some point. Like they have it still.
Maybe.
I think there's a reference to it somewhere. I don't
remember.
Maybe
Here's
it's in the
the
trailer to Picard. That'd be where I saw it.
Here's the thing. This episode is standard television. Like,
yeah,
it is such a standard television episode.
Yeah.
There's something about like the late 80s and early 90s. They had this like hat that was at every it was like a box that you bought at fucking JCPenney. And on the side of it, it said episode ideas. And every studio had it. And you reach into the box and pull it out, and it would be like, reconcile with shitty dad.
Yeah, like the, you were saying like there aren't many episodes where that doesn't happen, but, fucking Beverly, oh my god, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh yeah, well...
It does the opposite.
Yeah, that's not his real dad.
No.
His real dad is Uncle Phil.
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, obviously.
Well, yeah, it's like, that's the only one I can think of, and that's the one everyone remembers.
That's because it's, like, memorable, yeah. Cause
it's like a fucking amazing episode.
It's great.
The best episode of the show.
Yeah.
It's super emotional, and you feel for Will, and it super cements the relationship between Will and Uncle Phil.
Yeah.
And instead, you just get this fucking schmaltzy bullshit in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's fine because, like, he never comes back, so who cares, right? Like, who gives a fuck? But, like, I don't know, man. Like, I know me and you kind of have a feeling about this, and, like, maybe we're not, like, the best to, like, see this through rose-colored glasses. Like, we're not, like, oh, this is nice.
I will say in my own defense, this plot line didn't bother me in the first couple shows that I saw it in.
Right.
Until I started seeing it in every single show did it start to really bother me.
What makes it suck is like you're saying, it's there's only one way it can go, right? Besides the Beverly Hills, I keep wanting to say Beverly Hills, Prince of Bel-Air, Fresh Prince. Like, besides that, like you see like where it's taking you, and like once you see it once or twice, you're like, okay. It's just, it's hackneyed. It's just hackneyed writing. It's not good.
Really, if we were doing, like, I don't know, like any other television show where this happens, I don't think I would be as aggravated as I am with this episode, because his father is, like, probably the worst father on all of television. Like,
yeah, he's pretty shitty.
Like, I can't think of a worse father. Because, like,
it's not like he abandons him. Right, like, the mom isn't there. You know what I mean? Like,
Will's
that's
dad
horrible.
abandoned his son, and his mom raised him. Like, Riker, as far as I know, no one raised him.
I mean, I guess it's, like, works, because, like, it's the future, and, like, you just have a replicator to make you food.
Yeah, I guess
like,
so.
You could,
the replicator was his dad.
Literally, you could just be like, chocolate cake, and it just gives you, like, appropriate chocolate cake. That is fine. You could eat chocolate cake for 2 years.
Parents are redundant in the future.
God, that sounds great.
It's just... He's like... It's at a comical level at this point, but the show treats it 100% seriously, like it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's a little bit ludicrous, if you ask me. Like, this is... It's crazy. Like, it's a suspense of logic. It makes no sense.
It very much, like, skirts over... It buries the lead very heavily.
Yeah.
Because they mention twice in the episode that hasn't seen his father for 15 years, and they only mention once that he was abandoned at 13.
Right, that's the story. Like, that's what they should be talking about.
Yes.
And if they want to do some world building, if they want to get real gritty, like, they should be like, well, how did you... Like you just said, like, how did you raise her? Like, what did you do?
How did you survive? So, like...
went to school, ate fucking chocolate cake every day.
Very often when I talk to people about this episode, they're like, wait, he did what? He abandoned him when?
Yeah.
Because they only say it once in the entire episode.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like shit must have been rough for little Riker.
Did Benji feed him? Was Benji around? Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, David Aseel, who we all know as the writer of the greatest episodes of The Love Boat.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Or Saint Elsewhere.
Is that St. Elmo's Fire? Am I mixing up my 80s hospital things? Is St. Elmo's Fire a hospital thing?
Now, St. Elmo's Fire was a movie.
It was about teenagers, Brat Pack, right?
Yeah.
No hospital,
the St. Elsewhere theme was ba-na-na-na-na.
Oh, right. No, yeah, that's right. You're right. My cats are like, "What the fuck are you doing?
What is happening? Is that they're like, holy shit, is it on?"
Like Night Court's on? I mean, St. Elsewhere is on?
Dude, let's be fair though. He also wrote episodes of Knots Landing, so.
Oh my god, all these drama 80s fucking stupid over the top television-y shit.
This could be one of those situations where I found out that the same person wrote the episodes of TNG and Stargate SG-1 that are about a minority kidnapping a white woman and forcing her to marry
that
him.
Woman who had clearly like a Harlequin romance fetish. She was big into that.
If you look at all the episodes David Aseel wrote, if they're all this episode of son forgives father for being shitty father and they reconcile.
Well, we know a writer who already does that. J.J. Abrams.
Oh, yeah. Well, fucking Kirk's dad's dead.
He's obsessed with weird daddy issues. And it's like, makes me wonder, like, does he have weird daddy? I mean, I think we all do. But, like, does he have, like, legitimate... I'm, like, ranking his dad issues. But, like, does he have, like, a serious, like, thing? Or is this just, like, a... He likes that type of drama. I think
it's a really easy plot line to
it's super easy, right? It's so relatable.
It's like it's the standard shit to the point where like if you play D&D and your character has a family member, the DM will cheaply murder them for drama.
Yeah,
at some point. There's no way around it.
Yeah. Yep.
And if like basic bitch ass D&D DMs are doing it, you probably shouldn't be doing it in your big Hollywood production.
Right, if you're just like winging it and doing it like improv style. Yes, and
yes, and my movie.
Yes, and Vulcan has one moon now.
So I feel like we've talked this episode through. You folks know that we have a Patreon, right?
I knew that.
It's over at patreon.com/mclasspodcast, and the reason I bring this up isn't just because I would like you to give us your money, which I would.
Yeah.
The reason I
to
bring
replace
this up,
our long lost dads.
If I have enough money, I'll feel like my daddy loves me.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
Over the past month or two, over on the M-Class Discord, they've been having these little competitions, these little tournaments for every Star Trek show to figure out who the hottest character on each Star Trek program is.
Yeah. We've been a part of a few of them, like, on the Discord ourselves, where...
Oh, yeah.
Heated debates.
Sometimes people get mad, sometimes people sling some mud, but it's all good fun.
Sometimes we get a little upset. Sometimes
Josh throws a chair, but it's fine.
I've been known to throw a chair about the hot quiz.
But at the end of all of the debating, we ended up with a list of, I believe, 24 hotties.
Yeah, so it's like males and females are bracketed. I don't know how the final one's going to be. Are they going to be against each other? Like,
yes, it's male versus female in the final one.
Okay.
And the way there's a tournament for voting. Let me start a few seconds ago. Forget I said all that because it's not getting edited out.
He's right.
Now that we have that list of 24 of the hottiest hotties,
alpha hotties or whatever we're calling them
in the Star Trek universe, we're doing a tournament.
Yeah,
it's exclusively on patreon.com/mclasspodcast for patrons $1 and up. Every day for the month of October, you will be able to vote on one matchup of male characters and one matchup of female characters to figure out who the hottest Star Trek character of all time is.
Oh, man, this is going to be so good. I wonder who it's going to be. I bet you I know.
It's got to be the alpha hottie.
I don't want to say, but I have predictions.
Don't influence the votes.
I'm not going to.
This is not 2016. Do not influence the votes.
Maybe I don't give your country some missiles.
You got to head over to patreon.com/mclasspodcast and become a patron today. For $1 a month, you get access to the Discord, you get a ton of free wallpapers, and you get any podcast that goes past its expiration date for other patrons at higher tiers will eventually be available for $1 patrons.
What?
But also, you get to be a part of the M-Class Podcast Alpha Hottie Tournament to find out who the hottest Star Trek character in the universe is. Please vote to help me figure out who I want to fuck.
Yes, other people should be determining this for you.
I have to know. I gotta figure it out, and you can help.
Yeah, help me.
The fate of the sexiness of the Star Trek universe is in your hands.
Yeah. We'll do a fan dance, each of us.
Well, also, it's a good time to hop on board the M-Class Discord, because the day this episode comes out that you're listening to right now, there will be an M-Class email available a week early.
Oh my god. We haven't even done that yet.
We haven't even done it yet.
But they've already got it. What the fuck dimension are we
You could
in?
have already listened to it.
You could have listened to that one first, which we haven't even done yet. You're like a fucking time traveler, dude.
Quantum science over here, folks.
It's like, yeah, like string theory or some shit.
That's $5 a month can get you that shit.
Yeah, string cheese.
You can get string theory cheese.
Delicious.
And we haven't forgotten you patrons, but when the next week, when M-Class email comes out.
What?
It's been missing for a couple months, but now it's back, baby. It's Jeff and Josh Shoot the Shit, a podcast about everything unrelated to Star Trek.
We did that already.
We already did that one. It's about fantasy.
It's awesome. We ramble on about awesome fantasy shit.
We talk about how much we love all types of fantasy, and every fucking cool thing you love we talk about, as long as it has to do with fantasy. And it's like an hour and something long.
We would have kept going. Like, we just would have kept talking. It was crazy.
I imagine there's going to be a follow-up to that soon as well, so it's a great time to get on board for patreon.com/mclasspodcast. You get free podcasts that you pay for. You get free shit that you pay for.
Yeah.
And you can find out who the alpha hottie is alongside
Hell yeah.
us.
Hell yeah.
So get on board that. If you'd like to take part in our little program called M-Class Email, you can shoot us an email at mclassemail@gmail.com, and we'll read your messages on our other program, which we're going to do after this one.
Yup.
And you can follow us on Twitter at mclasspodcast.
Yeah, and you can follow each of us. Jeff, what is yours? I know it, but I don't want to say it for you.
It's @_Jeff Pennington.
There you go. And mine is @Henderson1983.
And we're both very active Twitterers, and we're using the M-Class Twitter a little bit more lately. There's a cool countdown of the best bags Odo has turned into happening right now.
It's ridiculous. I can't believe he turned into all those bags.
Dude, he's turning into some real sexy bags lately.
The one where it's just a Ziploc bag with binoculars in it, that's crazy.
Why did he turn into that?
So he can see the criminals, dude.
Of course.
They
never see that coming. Like, if I was walking down a hallway, if I was a criminal, and I saw a Ziploc bag with some binoculars in it, I wouldn't even think twice.
I would be like, that's kind of weird, but whatever. I would just be like, okay, whatever. But, like, if you're the binoculars, you don't need binoculars. Think about it.
Holy shit.
Your existence is binoculars.
My brain is bleeding out of my ear holes. We appreciate everybody who listens to this podcast, whether they pay or not, but it'd be cool if you did.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
So join up on our Patreon, follow us on Twitter, shoot us an email, and we will be back in 1 week's time with more M-Class goodness. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm mentally ill.